Just a week ago, we talked about how one of the most successful teams in the RLCS in Sandrock Gaming was no longer with an organization. After the hard works and efforts through Civic, the former CEO of Sandrock Gaming, who decided to step away and everything else. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, link to that should be displayed somewhere up here or down in the description below. But we do have an update. We have some more insight in regards to the situation, as well as the next steps following along with the former Sandrock Gaming team, who has now been signed by a new organization. In today's video, we're going to talk about what the new situation is, as well as some of the positive effects that have come from it, including visas, so the team, no matter what, will be able to play in the World Championship that has been announced in Dallas, Texas. The update comes on April 1st, which anytime I see information released on April 1st, I get a little bit skeptical. But this one seems to be no jokes whatsoever. Team Falcons, who was one of the other teams, I mentioned how the depth of the MENA region has expanded now that there is dedicated tournaments within that region. The Falcons was one of those 5 teams. I think they have shown alongside Ultimates and SICE and everybody else that they are a competitive roster. But the difficulty about being a MENA region is there's only one team that gets to go to these majors. Unless you are the best team, you are not in attendance, and unfortunately for those rosters, that means no exposure to the mainstream. The difficulty that comes with this is there is a lot of business decisions that are having to be made. The difficulty of understanding that even though you have a solid roster, it is sometimes still not good enough to get the mainstream exposure, because at the end of the day, it is a business. You are trying to invest money into an opportunity that then gets more eyes on you, which allows your brand and your organization to develop and grow. And unfortunately, that means for the former roster of SMW, Twiz, and ironically enough, the former sub of Sandrock Gaming, Incenzo, who is now on the starting roster for the new roster known as Empty. And this all comes shortly after an announcement, like I mentioned, on April 1st. That Team Falcons says that their journey is continuing, and the welcoming of the former Sandrock Gaming roster of Ahmad Okhalid and Turk, or TRK511. The difficulty with this is it does not bring along their former coach in Mitz, who put out his own social media postings in regards to his new focus and endeavors. The benefit, obviously, is the fact that this, like I said, does come with some positives. Although the former roster is no longer alongside Falcons, who seems to have treated them quite well, and they have found a new home with Empty, you are seeing public information being provided by one of the players in Ahmad, who in a stream does put these messages as you are seeing displayed. He does mention that we got our USA visas and they are ready for Worlds. Now, this has been topic of conversation for a while now, as the USA does tend to have some very strict limitations when it comes to visa issues, as well as bringing people over. We saw this apply to not only players, but also multiple broadcast talent for the RLCS during the winter split, and those concerns definitely tend to grow with the World Championship being announced in Dallas, Texas, as I mentioned earlier in the video. This is way less of a concern with things going back to Copper Box Arena in spring for that major, which again brings about the conversation of, do we continue to hold events in the United States when there's that difficulty of people getting visas and traveling, when it is so much easier with less restrictions when it goes to places of Europe or elsewhere? That has always been a topic of conversation, and it can be argued for either or, and there's a lot of decisions behind the scenes that people may not think about when it comes to the costs and everything else, when it comes to a developmental team and a production team and the RL esports staff trying to make this as accessible and as cheap as possible, which, again, there's a lot of factors that go into it. If you guys would like to see me break down some of the potential land locations for 2023 season, let me know in the comments down below, and we can potentially do a dedicated video for that, and some of the conversations that go into deciding a location and otherwise. But primarily focusing on this topic again at hand, the MENA region is going to have to get to know the former Sandrock Gaming team as a new face with Team Falcons. And you even saw the former support of the CEO in Civic also show his love, saying God bless you, and the response as well from one of the people involved, or the chairman of Falcons Esports, saying thank you for everything you've done for the Rocket League community, and this is your second team in reverse, implying you are still part of this situation. Without you, we would not be here. You are still an honorary member of this team, which I think is more so that formality that does mean a lot and shows a lot to how much in Civic is of importance to making this team a thing. So I mentioned in my previous video just a week ago that this is the most sought after team, and without anybody else even being able to get, and honestly, a chance, you even saw Charlie of Moist Esports show interest and say that we are already out of the running.
Moist Esports in Rocket League. So, over the last couple days, a lot of you tagged me in the Sandrock Gaming tweet. Since Sandrock Gaming disbanded, the team needed a new place, a new home, new org. We were talking to them for the last few days, and unfortunately, it's not looking like they'll be with Moist Esports. We did everything we could, gave them everything they asked for, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where they didn't believe Moist would be the best fit at the moment. So, just like last time with True Neutral, we got outclouded. But I swear to God, one day, we will be in the RLCS. We will have an RLCS caliber team. That is the second time, though. I'm having horrible luck with Rocket League.
Which shows how quickly this probably was into effect. The Falcons immediately recognizing that we have a team within our own region, we can support them directly, and we are not going to let anybody else have a chance. So with that said, Sandrock Gaming is no longer, they have disbanded, as we mentioned in our last video. They're now officially with the Falcons, so a new face that is going to be for the MENA region. Can anybody step up and knock this team down? We've seen sites take a series off but have not been able to take a tournament win. So much, in fact, as I mentioned in my previous video, that in the MENA region, when it comes to the RLCS, Sandrock Gaming, now the Falcons, has won literally everything. They have not dropped a single tournament, have already guaranteed a spot in the wild card tournament. Not quite the main event just yet for the RLCS, but in the previous event, that gives 16 teams a chance to join the top 8 that automatically do qualify. At this point, it is very likely that if the Falcons now continue to perform their dominance as they have in the MENA region with no signs of slowing down, they will also lock in a top 8 spot and guarantee themselves not into the wild card, but into the World Championships. We still have to see how the spring split is going to unfold, but without a doubt in my mind, you will see a lot of the Falcons in that conversation. Hopefully you all enjoy the update, and if you do, be so kind, give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, as more content like this will be coming in the future. Lots of things to discuss in the upcoming days due to the trade window being in full effect. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on it, make sure you guys hit subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.